Yes, my people. It's another episode of Blocks to Bags. I'm your boy Beej.
I'm your boy Seb.
And this is a quick fire episode. We're chilling with our favorite entrepreneurs of the week. We've just done another episode for you guys. It's going to be a much more shorter one. Quick dilemmas, quick questions, and just hang out. Right, I have a question for everyone. If you had to make £10,000 between now and Christmas, what would you guys do? Because we're living in a cost of living crisis. There's opportunities. And I like to look at things as half full rather than half empty. So from everyone, you've got to make £10,000 before Christmas. What are you doing?
Like investments, like investors, like sponsorships, like just like, all right, hit the ground running. I'm going to present what we have got to everyone I can think of, and just going to find, they're like, that's not a large amount of money to raise, and we'll find that money somewhere.
Okay, Alex.
Someone's going to have that for us.
Let's see you shining, Alex. Seb, what are you saying? What are you doing? How are you making 10 grand?
Yeah, man shot in t-shirts, yeah.
Yeah?
That's what I'm going to do.
For how much?
Build a little brand, depending on the sort of pricing and stuff like that. But, you know, I'm a big fan of print on demand.
Yep.
Black Friday right now. It's the holidays. Christmas is coming up. People are going to be looking to spend and buy gifts and things like that. So if you're really creative and you can create some like really cool like designs for t-shirts and stuff like that, I would come up with maybe some Christmas themed designs, maybe some rappers as Santa Claus or something like, I don't know, like rappers as Santa Claus, isn't it? Like,
that's
for
dope.
all my rap fans out there.
That's
and
for
like,
the streets, that one there.
Let's go.
A heady one part.
A heady, yeah.
Right now.
Yeah, and
Come
then I'll target that on. I'll create a really funny video on YouTube and target that to people that are watching Heady One videos.
Yeah, Stormzy Sliders, his album just dropped.
Yeah, let's go. That kind of thing.
Okay.
That's such a good idea.
Yeah, if I was to try and do that before, was it Christmas?
Yeah, 10 bags before Christmas.
I would do something like selling a program of like education, something that I could probably package and then just sell out to people. So I know there's some value exchange there, and I know they could buy at a cheaper price point, and then just, you know, market as much as I can so I can just get that 10 grand really.
Love that.
Yeah, low-key, you stole my idea. I would have done the same thing, but I feel like, yeah, if it's before the end of the year, it would have been, you know, do something like, it's about like being a musician in 2023 or having some sort of angle that like helps drive home this timeline that we're trying to get to. But yeah, definitely, like I feel like some sort of course, educational, personal development thing between like now and the end of the year. Everyone wants to be lined up for the new year and their resolutions, and it all becomes about like self-improvement at that time of year. So something like that I think would be like such a good idea.
I'll build on that as well. Yeah, definitely drop a journal, like a pack of journals and merch. How about that? Bring some ideas together. Like have the swag and have some journals. I think also something I would sell is coaching time, knowing my network. People can book me for stuff. I just like run ads on that and run different ads on different things I can coach people on. So I'll do that. All right, next question. So I love cycling. I love sport. I love getting people together. I did a little poll on my Instagram a couple of weeks ago. I said I'd love to build my own like skateboard and my own bike. You know what I'm saying? As a room, if we were all co-investing in my bike brand, what would we do to release a bike brand in the next year? I can definitely find a supplier. There's like a company here in Hackney, who like Hackney Cycles. They have suppliers they bring in. So let's say I can definitely source a manufacturer for the bike. But what are we doing to make a lit bike? Am I collaborating with a designer who already has a follower? Around like the collaboration design, I'm definitely thinking to do that. That's just one thing I'm going to look to do. What else should I be doing to bring this to market?
I think, right, genuinely, I think like there's such a big market for like little electric bikes, because you know them Lime bikes that are all around. Like I use them, and like now when I go back on a normal bike, I'm kind of like, I've really got to cycle. You feel me? I feel like there's definitely a market for like those sort of electric bikes. Because I've literally said like I think if I had the money, I would like get one rather than like a normal cycle now, because I've just become too acclimatized to like the health. I feel like that could be like a big market to tap into.
I love that. What would you guys be advising? You're part of the bike team. Are we shooting a film around the process?
Yeah, I think definitely trying to sell something visual about it. But I think the first thing that came to mind is just on the look and feel, and I know that, you know, when it comes to like manufacturing, it's all, I feel like we're coming into the generations that everything's just simplified and it's just a lot more easier, and you know what I mean. So anything that you could identify, that would be my own advice. Just even if it's something small like the brakes or how the brakes feel, or you know the handle or something like that, and then kind of in the video, that's how I would just think about it. It makes me feel like I can market that a lot better, if that makes sense, because then I can sell on that a lot more and say, right, this is what we're supposed to get as content, and these are the kind of things that we're supposed to sell up on. Really cool.
Yeah, I would say like as both a creative thing and a business thing, like finding really interesting like partnerships for the art, so that the bikes will look really sick and like unique and have really interesting decor and art on them, but also so that at the same time you'd be tapping into the markets of essentially merchandise. For instance, like there's a Netflix animated show called Bee and Puppy Cat, which just released like I think some skateboards with a skateboard company, and so you've suddenly got a whole load of people that are fans of that show who will be buying merch of that show, who are then driven to that skateboard brand. So for our bike and skating, or was it skating, or did I invent that?
Yeah, skateboard.
Yeah, skateboard company, like finding stuff like that, like finding some like really interesting like musicians or artists or shows or whatever to like create some like unique personalized designs for bikes and skateboards that suddenly mean that not only are people who are interested in the brand will be buying the product, but suddenly people who are interested in your partners will be buying the product, and you get really, really cool bikes and skateboards out of it that you wouldn't usually get otherwise.
Hondo. I like that. I really like that. And to add a final piece to it, and to even link it back to the first question of how we would make the 10K by Christmas, I would, number one, tap into this whole idea of limited quantity. This is rare, super rare. You only make a set of 10 or 20 bikes, you price them really high. I mean, if you don't have a lot of supply, then you can push the price higher, right? So I'll charge them at like $1,000 a bike or something like that. I'll do it in collaboration with 10 different artists. And each bike that you buy also comes with a customized tracksuit and customized Air Forces or something like that that matches it to the bike or the skateboard. So you get the bike, you get some merch or like the whole fit with it as well.
Yeah.
And then it'll be cool if you can also get access via like, let's say an NFT, like a barcode printed on the bike or something like that. If you get access to some exclusive artwork by that kind of artist, whenever people scan your bike or something cool, like to tie it into that kind of digital sort of world, I think that could be cool. Yeah, that's what I'll do. Like, I think bikes are boring, actually. Believe it or not, like, I think a lot of products out there are like really boring, and I think in the next 10 years, we're going to see so many artists like make so much money from drinks, sofas, tables, homeware. We've already seen it with clothing and stuff, but I feel like it's going to go into like way more products that we haven't really been exposed to just of yet. And I think artists and creators, they're so influential. Like, they're almost becoming like as influential as big brands within themselves, because it's like, yo, I have my niche artists and I have my niche people and crew that I kind of follow, you know, like. So yeah, I think tapping into that and doing like limited run of bikes, that could be dope.
Cool. So we've got our
there we go
skateboard bike company. We're starting in the winter.
Come on, let's go. Let's build it. Do you guys have any questions? Any random questions that come to mind when you think about just a quick fire things that we can do as entrepreneurs right now?
I got a quick question. So we kind of touched on it a little bit before. You talked about like needing to be agile and being diverse and stuff. But obviously we've also talked a lot about like raising funds and stuff. And obviously someone's going to give you investment, give you money on the basis of an agreement and an explanation of the business.
Yeah.
So like, what do you do if you feel as though like you're going to have to change course, or like change course, like, you might have to take like quite a strong left maybe from what was explained to investors, or you're changing course. Like, how do you like sort of manage that relationship? Because it might change to a point where it's like not necessarily what they invested in, or the business like sort of evolves. So like, how do you kind of...
That's called a pivot. And all great businesses pivot at some point when they realize maybe this is not the right direction. And I think a lot of people are actually scared to pivot and change direction. So I think investors will kind of expect that, but framing it as a pivot, and this is the best thing for the kind of business. I'm not being rigid. I'm kind of listening to the data and explaining like, why are you turning left or why are you turning right? Hopefully you're not doing it just for the sake of like, hey, let's just like completely change things, and I don't like, but hopefully you're doing it based or informed of data from customers, stream, sales, whatever it is. But yeah, don't be afraid to kind of pivot and explaining why you're doing that and how that's going to benefit your business in the kind of future. But from what I know, all of the greatest brands and technology companies that we know have had to pivot at some point in their kind of journey, essentially. Don't be afraid to pivot.
I would say, what's it like in terms of, this is just open to both of you, what's that process like, if you was actually to gain an investment of that kind of money? Like, what's that process actually like? And you don't have to get obviously nitty gritty, but I just wanted to know, what's that process kind of like in terms of, does just for example, do you, because we already, as the entrepreneurs, we already have like a breakdown of exactly what we want to spend the money on. But like, when they come into investment, do they kind of revise that, or is it kind of there now? Is it because obviously they're investing their money?
Yeah.
Is it more to do with like a mutual agreement on whether or not they're gonna do, like, how is that process like in terms of once they've obviously now invested?
I mean, once they've invested, that's like job done. You've pitched them already, so that's like really good. But as an investor, like, obviously, like, the relationship that you're gonna have with them is probably gonna be like a couple of years minimum, if you know what I mean, right? So with the investors, like, number one, let's say I'm investing in a company, like, I want to know like where the data is coming from, and like whether I trust the entrepreneur. Are they growing? Are they going to be able to take, because businesses have different stages, isn't it? Like, the challenges that you have when trying to hit 10 grand is going to be different than when you're hitting 100 grand and a mil. So it's about understanding. I think that's why it's really important to understand the founder as well, and to have a good relationship with the investors. Remember I told you guys, it's all about your personal relationship. That's a very important aspect of this. And like, I've got to believe that, because I know as an investor, I've seen other businesses, what goes on in the business. This is not like your first rodeo as an investor, right? As an entrepreneur, it might be your first rodeo, but usually with investors, they've already invested in loads of entrepreneurs, and they kind of know what the game's like. So as an investor, it's like more the belief. Like, if I've invested in you, that means I believe in you, isn't it? And like, we will have a relationship, but like in the world of like VC, for example, we invest in like so many founders, and like, we only invest in founders that we believe have the personality, the mindset to really take the business forward for like at least the next 5 years. And if we believe that they're not going in a certain direction, like, this is your business at the end of the day. We can't force you to like do this or to do that. All we can do is like give you advice and like just hope that you kind of take it, or maybe not. But yeah, I think it's down to like personal relationships, as BJ was saying, setting OKRs even with like your investors, and sitting down and chatting to them and just letting them know, boom, this is where we want the business to be in the next 2-3 years. This is where we want it to be in 5 years. And just as I said, having that personal relationship is always important. Checking in, like letting them know, giving them updates, that kind of thing. Did I answer that, or did I go left?
No, I think it's good, because especially with the updates and things like that. And I think what you're saying is you're touching more on, that it is more of like a relationship between you and the investor, because what I'm not used to, obviously, is that, working with somebody, normally you're just working with somebody because of what they're kind of bringing to the table is normally just one thing. But what you're saying is that, with an investor, sometimes they're coming with the experience of working with businesses and also with the money. So that's obviously a relationship that it's like a safety net for you, because it's kind of like, they're kind of giving you an understanding that, listen, I believe in you, but this is also what could work. You know what I'm gonna say, and the practicality of this, and they kind of, but they also trust your judgment. So you're saying there's basically freedom in terms of what you want to do.
There is.
Okay.
But it's actually getting the investors the hardest
thing.
It's actually the, but once you get the investor, then actually getting the investor and convincing them that you're the guy, and why should you invest in me, I think is the hardest part. But building that personal relationship, building those bridges, like you're from Brixton, I'm from Brixton, or you've been influenced by this sort of music, I've been influenced by this sort of music, like building those parallels with people and really going in on a personal kind of level, I think is just the easiest way to build that kind of trust and that kind of belief, because people, I believe, especially in this space, will probably invest out of a feeling. And they want to go on the journey with you, especially a lot of angel investors, because they know that they're probably going to lose their money. But most investors know investing is especially in businesses, angel investing in founders is one of the most riskiest things you can kind of do with your money, because as we said, most businesses don't survive the first year. So investors are not just only doing it for them. Always remember that investors, money is important, and you've got to show the numbers and stuff like that. But always remember, investors are not just doing it for them, especially angel investors, people that you're going to work with earlier on in your journey. They're doing it to go on that experience with you and to help as well. And I think the more coachable you are, the more open you are, the stronger relationship you have, the better it is. But in terms of updates and stuff like that, I've seen investor updates via WhatsApp, via newsletters, just sending them a message, here's how things are going and that kind of thing.
Okay.
I have a quick question while we have 1 minute left of the room. You said in your decks that you were from a working class background, if I remember.
I would even say, is there one below working class? Say working class to be nice.
From blocks.
Yeah.
Blocks.
So my question, me also, and my question is more broadly the music business is how do you as someone from that kind of background with no funds, no friend, no uncle, how do you crack into the world of VC and business and venture capital and all of that?
Hustling. For me, it's been a bit different, but I would say just hustling. When I first started out, just personal, just on top of stuff, I've always been frugal from the beginning. So I've always saved a lot of the money that I've earned. I've always saved, and I've always had a pot of money there, basically. So that's one thing that I've always had, and that's helped me in different ways, whether that's at some point investing in stocks, angel investing, or buying a yard or whatever it is, but having that kind of mentality from earlier on helped me. The other thing was just doing things in an unconventional way. A lot of this stuff has happened because I've been not forced, but there was no way that a bank was good. The way I looked back in the my hair was all over it. They were calling me a corporate hippie and that. I was like, well, I don't want to be called a corporate hippie. I said, I'm gonna do it my own way. So doing things in an unconventional way, being relentless, working freaking hard, man. We all have the same amount of hours in the day, but I'm trying to put in the extra.
Molly May.
Extra work. Molly May, oh yeah, shout out Molly May. I'm trying to put in that extra hours when people are sleeping on a Saturday morning, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. I'm up working on my extra side stuff, isn't it? So yeah, man, I'm putting in that extra work, being unconventional, saving what kind of money you have, but also investing a bit of that to try to. I don't have a safety net. A lot of us don't have safety nets, isn't it?
Big
That's the key
facts.
thing. But yeah, it's about balancing that.
And I think for people who are looking to build side hustles, just looking to like build something up when they got nothing, just remember like you can be something, and you can definitely change your life in a year, change your life in a matter of months. But it starts with actually having the ability to have critical thinking. Don't be too married to the idea. Sometimes you need to do the side hustle to fund the main hustle. Sometimes the main hustle won't be the main hustle. You know, sometimes the main hustle is the side hustle, while your main hustle is the thing that's helping you out to do what you need to do. So yeah, it's very important to be agile, move like water, make sure that you are your best version of yourself, and be open to opportunities. There hasn't been one business I've done where it's just gone like to the plan, but I've gotten to the goal. And also getting to the goal wasn't always the way I wanted it to happen, but we've gotten there. And sometimes we haven't gotten there, but there's real momentum in putting yourself out there, being consistent and going for it. And you don't have to work on Saturday at 11 a.m. Maybe you're working Tuesday at 9 p.m. You know what I'm saying? It's about you going and getting it. But yeah, without further ado, guys, that is us. Another episode of Back to Bags. Don't forget, like, comment, subscribe. And if you like this and you want to get on another episode, get in touch, guys. Boom.